welcome to the Marine Conservation Happy Hour. This is Dr. Scarlett Smash. I'm here with Dr. Craken. How you doing, Dr. Craken?
You doing?
How you doing? How you doing? We're doing a great marathon today. We got lots of really cool topics. And today's topic, before I ask you what you're drinking, which I think I already know what you're drinking.
Oh no, you don't. Oh no,
Ooh,
you don't.
well then put me in the corner, okay? Because it was wrong for me to assume because it made an ass out of me and not you. But anyways, we are going to talk about how whales can help fight climate change. What a cool subject! What a cool subject. So, Dr. Kraken, how you doing and what are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking because it is now past noon, so I can start drinking the hard stuff. But I actually have something called Meaderitaville from one of my favorite meat producers. I've been drinking a lot of meat because, apart from anything else, during the pandemic, Grunfeld Meadery will deliver alcohol to your door, which is awesome. It's also gluten free. So if one has a bit of a gluten insensitivity, it doesn't hurt it, it doesn't impact you there. But also it's a really nice woman-owned company that is like a small business. I've been trying to support them and they do some really cool projects. They just gave a whole bunch of money to Pride to help support LGBTQ makers. Um, so I am drinking Meaderitaville, where the image on the can, if you can see it here, it's like a sort of
Is that a cow?
undead Jimmy Buffett. No, it's like an undead Jimmy
Oh,
Buffett that was done by one of their fans. In fact, our friend Erin Ziegler put a design into the competition here, and it's margarita and mead, but slightly sour. So it's
I
pineapple,
like it.
orange, and lime. So it tastes a
I'm
little bit like
sold.
a margarita. It's slightly sour, like you have a little bit of extra lime and saltiness in
Yeah,
it.
like a cider.
Well, more like a sort of a beer sour than a cider,
Okay.
but it does go very, very well with ciders because I had one with cider the other day. And because of the sourness, it stops you chugging it really, really quickly. So it's like nice and refreshing, a sort of a sippy drink. So yeah, highly
Well, I
recommend it.
find mead a little too sweet.
Mm.
Like I can only have maybe like a shot glass worth of mead.
Yes, but this isn't. This is actually really quite refreshing. It's quite light. It's really nice in the summer, out on the deck, just sipping it. Yeah, really, really nice. So highly recommend it. So Grunfeld Distillery, Meaderitaville. They actually sent me, this is one of their new batches that they sent me in advance to taste. So hopefully I'll
Oh.
have a few more coming through from them
Ooh.
to highlight. So this one highly recommended. Nice summer sipping
Okay, so
mead.
when I come up for Awesome Con, because we are coming up for Awesome Con, that is right. We've been invited to feature a few panels, which is really exciting for us. But when I come there, you better have some of that mead.
Oh, indeed,
Good.
indeed. I will have some. I actually almost ordered some to go to your house, so
Yeah.
it's
Oh, no, no,
there
no, no,
waiting.
no, no. I have to take a train up there. So wait a minute. No, no, no. Just bring it to the hotel room and then we'll have it when we do a marine conservation
Will
happy
do.
hour
I'll
there.
order a batch, and oh yeah, then it becomes tax deductible. Does that how it works? It becomes
I
tax
don't know about
deductible. Okay,
alcohol. I'm not
no,
really
no.
sure. Not sure. I have no idea. We'll have to ask our tax accountant. But I will say, Dr. Kraken, this episode is about whales fighting climate change. I mean, well, let's talk about the climate change issue. Okay. Right now, Seattle is having like 106-degree weather.
Oh my
Tomorrow, it's gonna have
goodness.
109. Do you know most people in Seattle don't even own like or have an AC unit, and that's because
It's like the
it's not
UK.
supposed to be that hot. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly
In
right.
the UK, people keel over every summer because it is so hot.
And that's not the
And
original
the
climate.
houses aren't built for it. They're built for sort
Yes.
of cooler climate. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. And you guys actually in Washington, D.C. are going to have a higher temperature than this week than Tampa, Florida. I mean, this is wild. We're going to be hanging out in 88-degree weather while DC, Washington, DC, that it is in 90,
And
93,
we're in a
95,
humidity bowl as well,
96.
so it's gonna be
Okay.
humid
So
and
let's
hot
talk
and
about
horrible and
climate
sticky.
change. We're
And
seeing it right
and
here.
California's dry. Have you seen the levels of the
Oh,
reservoirs? I
yes.
mean, it's
Oh,
getting,
it's
really
scary.
scary.
It's really scary. It's absolutely
Yes.
scary. So, what do we need to do? Well, there's lots of things that we need to do, but here's another thing. Save the whales. Save the whales.
So
Did you
how do whales link into climate change? Do
So,
they are
Dr.
they, like, protesting?
I love you. Are they protesting? No, actually. So whales are actually storing a lot of the carbon. More on that subject in just a minute.
Hello, everyone. If you're a listener to the Marine Conservation Happy Hour, you might be wondering, how do these strange kids keep managing to record every single week? Well, we need support from Patreon supporters. Why not tune into patreon.com/marine conservation and buy us a drink? You can start from giving us a wee toast for just $1 to buying us a whole round of drinks. And each level has different types of benefits, going from a shout out on the show to even having a guest co host slot on one of the episodes. Yes, absolutely. If you go big time, you can actually join us on the show and be a co host. You can suggest possible topics that we could talk about. You can get involved with special live happy hours with just the crew. So go to patreon.com/marine conservation and show us the money.
Back to whales saving the world. Okay, so like what I was saying, there are two ways that these whales can help save us. Okay, and the first way is one, they store organic carbon in their body throughout their entire lifespan. And when a healthy whale, or maybe a sick whale, it doesn't really matter, but when a whale in the ocean dies of natural causes of some sort and it floats all the way down to the very bottom of the ocean floor, then so does the carbon. Okay? But if they're being whaled or they're being slaughtered, when you kill them, it releases the carbon and goes back into the atmosphere. Now, people are literally saying, don't kill whales because it's going to help fight climate change. And yet, they're declining. They're on a major decline. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dr. Kraken.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, whales, what a lot of people don't realize with some of these, particularly the big whale species,
Big.
when they're feeding, they're actually going quite deep, eating food at a deeper depth. And then they're coming up to the surface and then they're pooping. So they are kind of, it's like plowing. When you plow a field, you take soil from down below and you bring it up to the surface. So you're sort of bringing these nutrients up to the surface. And this is what a lot of the big whales are doing. And when they killed whales during the whaling years, they were stopping this kind of plowing of the ocean and then also taking all the carbon that the whale had in them with the big, thick fat layers, lots and lots of carbon, lots of energy there. And then basically, kind of burning it and putting it into the atmosphere or turning it into margarine. My goodness, turning it into margarine, and then all that carbon then gets out into the system as
Mhm.
opposed to being stored and being moved around the ocean.
And then what eats all the poop?
Oh yes, I mean it's so many nutrients
Yeah.
that poop brings to the surface.
Yes, exactly. And then we got phytoplankton, and phytoplankton is part of this, and everything is cleaning up the environment. But if we keep tapping into it and messing it up, yeah, we're not helping
Yeah.
our situation
And these
at
whale
all.
carcasses are like oases in the deep sea environment.
Oh,
We've seen the videos of all these animals in the deep sea environment going to a whale carcass. It's a really, really, it's like whale carcasses are like the McDonald's of the deep
mhm.
ocean.
Yes, and also phytoplankton. It looks like phytoplankton can capture estimate of 40% of all CO2 produced
Yeah.
if
So
healthy.
if you think
Okay.
about it, whale is like a McDonald's for the deep ocean, but they are like they're like the sort of fertilizers of the forests of the ocean because so much productivity goes on in the surface layers. So it's like I don't know, they're like the when you go
Like
into a field and you're sort of
McDonald's.
scattering the
I
fertilizer.
love this whole idea of McDonald's.
Yeah, I'm trying
I'm
to think of
still
an
trying
analogy
to
because they're
think
like
of McDonald's in this way.
so they're like sort of scattering the fertilizer about in the
Mm.
forest. So I mean, what sort of things that sort of help forests to grow and sort of help them? They're like the ranger service of the ocean service too, bringing
Mhm.
in nutrients into these forests.
Mm. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I still see a whale face on top of McDonald's now. You know what I mean? I'm having a hard time picturing this for sure. But it looks like, so I have something really interesting where it says from Future Planet, it says in a 2010 study, scientists found that before industrial whaling, populations of whales, including sperm whales, would have sunk between 190,000 to 1.9 million tons of carbon per year to the bottom of the ocean. So that is the equivalent of taking between 40,000 and 410,000 cars off the road each year. But when the carcass is prevented from sinking to the seabed, instead, the whale is killed and processed. The carbon is released into the atmosphere. I just, one, I love this article because it's so descriptive. I love your McDonald's analogy, but this was a lot easier.
And you know all that.
Cars were a lot easier. But anyways, this was written by Sophia Yeo. I'm going to pronounce that right. Yeo, Yeo, and Sophie Yeo. And it's called "The World's Largest Animals Are Unusually Good at Taking Carbon Dioxide Out of the Atmosphere." How cool, Dr. Kraken.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it as well, oceanographically, all these whales hit the bottom of the ocean, and then in like the Atlantic deep water just pushes carbon and nutrients down to Antarctica, and then it upwells, and then it feeds krill, which whales feed on. It's this circle of life again. Like the last episode, we were
Exactly.
talking about it's one
Circle of
ocean. It
life.
moves this
It
carbon and
moves
then
from
brings
whale
it back up into the surface
poop.
layers. A-
Save the
And when you look at sperm whales,
whales.
they're going down to the deep ocean and beach whales. They're going down to the deep ocean, feeding off these deep ocean squid. So they're actually bringing deep ocean carbon up to the surface where they poop it out in a shorter time frame as well. So they're circulating the carbon back to the surface, back into nutrients at the surface
What
in
a
an even
crazy
shorter time
cycle.
frame.
I never even knew that. Like, I never even looked at whales as a storage for carbon. Did you?
Yeah. Because there was actually an economic model done that said that whales are actually worth like billions of dollars in terms of carbon storage. That each individual whale is worth like tens of thousands of dollars in terms of the economic
They're so
impact,
worth
in
it.
terms of
So
moving
valuable.
carbon. Yeah.
So valuable. Okay, stop whaling. No more. Let's
So
save them
if
all.
you wanted to do carbon offsets, a lot of the carbon offsets are looking at coastal mangrove and seagrasses, which in itself is really, really important. Also, lots of knock-on effects in terms of providing habitats for other
So
species.
important.
So
Yes.
invest in mangroves, invest in seagrass beds, invest in coastal habitats, invest in salt marshes, but also, put a little bit of money into saving the whales too. Carbon offset.
Amen. All right. There we go. And that's how whales are going to save the world. Yes. All right, Dr. Kraken, thank you so much for being here on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and happy conservation.